What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast alongside my co-hosts Raj, Giri, and Vince Russo after FastLane, big WWE pay-per-view heading into WrestleMania. This show, as always, brought to you by Onnit.com/wrestling. Go and save 10% on great Onnit supplements like New Mood, Alpha Brain, their Dolce Way, awesome stuff. I personally hit personal best with my box jump, my mile, and my bench press this weekend since I've been using Onnit supplements. Really thrilled with that. Guys like Triple H, Cesaro, Seth Rollins use it. Onnit.com/wrestling. Save 10%. If you don't like the product, just tell them. They'll give you your money back. We're not getting our money back for the WWE Network this month. Now, granted, it's only $9.99, so I'm not complaining too much. But a lot of people weren't happy with this pay-per-view, Raj. What did you think?
I thought the wrestling was good. I thought the action was good, but I just thought it just fell flat. And really, from that New Day segment, it just kind of went downhill from there. I thought that was like the turning point. And the main event had some great action. I thought it just left a weird anticlimactic taste in my mouth after it was all said and done.
Vince, what did you think?
Well, I kind of agree with Roger. I think the matches delivered. Listen, the big three anyway, Owens and Ziggler and definitely Y2J and AJ and, the main event. So, I think the matches delivered. So, I'm wondering, Sean, is that a lot of people feeling that way because Reigns went over and maybe that's not what they wanted? Because I felt that the matches they hung their hats on definitely delivered on this pay-per-view.
I feel like if Dean Ambrose would have won the main event, our Twitter poll was 90% thumbs down, 10% thumbs up. I think that it would have been opposite. I think we would have had 90% thumbs up and 10% thumbs down. And maybe that's the attitude of everybody wanting to be anti-establishment, but I like Roman Reigns. I like him in the ring. There are some things that I wish they would do differently. I wish that he would take on more of the type of character like after TLC where he just, pardon my language, beat the shit out of everything and everybody and anything that he looked at. I think that was much better, but I thought the main event was good. I thought Jericho Styles was good. Jericho is starting to show his age a little bit, but we'll talk about that. But let's start. Where do you want to start, Raj? Main event, or do you want to start in chronological order?
Why don't we? I don't know. What do you think? Start with the main event, work our way down.
Yeah, let's go with main event, work our way down. So we had.
Actually, you know what? Let's go chronologically because I think it'll make more sense that way.
Okay. Well, we started off with the pre-show, and I want to say that I like Jerry Lawler much better as a heel, but his heel character is that of basically an old curmudgeon now. Some of the stuff he was saying was just like, dude, stop, you're trying too hard. But on the flip side, Vince, I understand this is the first time you got to hear Mauro Ranallo call action.
Bro, I got to tell you, listen, I worked with JR for a very, very long time, so I know that announcers do make a difference. I know that. I learned that through JR, but bro, I got to tell you, this is the first time I've heard Mauro. I heard him on the pre-show, and why this guy is not put on Raw tomorrow night, I have no idea. Bro, this guy brings such a tremendous energy to the product. He feels it. He believes it. He's passionate about it. He's excited. And I'm telling you, bro, I watched, the first match and I listened to him. And as soon as they went back to Cole and that Raw announce team, it kind of it took the wind out of its sails. I mean, there was definitely a change in, a change of the pace of the show and the excitement of the show. God, bro, he was phenomenal. I don't know if it's a political thing or what, but you got to put this guy on Monday Night Raw immediately.
He, in my opinion, is the best MMA commentator, boxing commentator, kickboxing commentator, and best wrestling commentator. It's amazing how his skills translate. Raj, what have you thought of his work so far, and especially tonight?
I think he's been outstanding, and I think if you had him, at the Raw desk heading into WrestleMania, it would get the angles and stuff over that much more, and this show could really use it. I don't know if they're going with Taker and Cena, but unless they pull something out of the hat with Undertaker, it's looking like a very underwhelming WrestleMania. So he would definitely help out with the quality of the show. So I think it's just a matter of time. I don't know if they're nervous about demoting Michael Cole, I guess.
Who got Mauro the job, mind you.
Right, yeah, exactly. But, I don't know where Michael Cole is at in his career, where if he would necessarily mind it so much either. So,
yeah. I mean, he's by all means, he's coaching the commentators, from what I understand. I saw him last year at the Arnold Classic as well. He was there, and he had nothing really to do with that event. So I wonder what kind of backstage duties he has, because Michael Cole did get Mauro this job. He had to know how good Mauro Ranallo was. I don't get the vibe that Michael Cole is so short-sighted that he wouldn't know that this guy is fantastic and these types of recommendations might be coming. So
yeah, it's not like he recommended the Pope or something like that.
Yeah,
he recommended someone that's like the very best. So yeah.
And you know what? That let me throw this in there too, because I did not know that, Sean, and I'm just hearing that for the first time. That says a lot about Michael Cole, because that's not how the wrestling industry works, bro. I mean, a guy in Michael Cole's spot would have buried Ronaldo. He would have been no way been able to get in the WWE. That speaks volumes for Michael Cole. And also, bro, I want to say it was obvious to me he made JBL better. He made JBL better, bro. I'm telling you, as soon as they switched from him to Michael Cole, it was the same old JBL, the same old Cole. Bro, they come across like they're just very comfortable in their roles, Man, it was night and day for me.
You should hear how he makes Lawler step up his game on SmackDown, because Lawler, there are a lot of similarities between Mauro and JR. They treat it as the sporting competition that is entertainment, though. It's weird the way that they're able to blend it. It's perfect. And Jerry Lawler plays off of them so well. So, I felt that Mauro has been fantastic. But, yeah, we had Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto in a 2 out of 3 falls match. Del Rio took a chair to Kalisto for the first fall, which is a tactic that many people on video games employ. I did as a child. You just beat the hell out of the person with a chair, then you get the next 2 falls. That didn't necessarily work out for Del Rio, but what I will say, Vince, Raj, we've complained about that double foot stomp that Del Rio does. He found a way, I don't know if you all saw it, but for the second fall where he kind of just, he did it in a manner that made sense. He didn't do it from the top rope. It was standing, so that I liked. Kalisto also won following a move which I don't know how it wouldn't have hurt him, but Kalisto won. I'm hoping we're going to move on past this. Vince, what do you think?
Sean, there was one thing, and you've been saying this for weeks, and like it was so obvious to me tonight, bro. I just hate the fact when Del Rio's got him set up for the finisher, they're clearly showing Kalisto's got his legs wrapped around each other, so he's got himself locked on. It's so silly, bro. I mean, it's so noticeable. Listen, I'm gonna say this. I told you guys from the start, I don't believe this guy beating Del Rio for a second. I think Del Rio looks and acts like a world-class athlete, but I do give them credit. If you're going to go with Kalisto, then go with him. Because if they would have had Del Rio beat him and put the belt back on Del Rio, they would have done absolutely nothing for Kalisto. So I don't buy that, but I give them credit for staying with Kalisto. If you're going to go with them, go with them. So I give them credit for that.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's clear they don't see Kalisto as a top guy. I give him credit for trying to push him, but as long as he's got the U.S. title, it's not going to really mean all that much. And I'm not blaming him. That's just their booking. I mean, he gets beat all the time, and made to look weak. So I think if you wanted to give the U.S. title more credibility, it would have made sense to put it back on Del Rio, but they're going with Kalisto.
Yeah, I don't mind the size thing as much, because I mean, I grew up watching Japanese MMA, and I saw a 155-pound guy like Genki Sudo beat up a 400-pound butterbean inside the cage or inside the ring. So I know it can happen. I thought this was probably their best match that they've had, but I'm really excited for these two to move on because it's been done too much. Also, I want to say at this point, my WWE Network stream looked like it was being filmed on a TI 84 Plus graphing calculator. It was really bad. I had those problems for about the first 10 minutes. Raj, did you have some audio issues as well?
Yeah, during the main event, after that table spot, all of a sudden the audio was like cutting in and out and cutting in and out. And so I meant to send that tweet from my personal account, but I accidentally sent it from the Wrestling Ache. But yeah, it was weird. So I thought it's like a cable got loose during the that table break. But I guess other people were having audio issues too. But when I went out and then back into the network, it was working fine. So I'm not sure what that was.
The first match that kicked off the FastLane pay-per-view was Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch against Team Bad. This was basically used as a placeholder because Brie Bella's in the Divas title picture. Vince, what did you think about all this? And do you see is this the end of this little mini feud we have going between Sasha, Becky, and Team Bad?
I mean, I would hope so. I mean, they got the win. I don't know where you go from here. One thing I was noticing tonight, guys, and maybe I'm wrong, but I was really trying to pay really close attention to the action in the in-ring wrestling. One thing I really liked about tonight was it seemed like they were trying to keep a lot of these matches in the ring. And maybe they were purposely trying to do that to make everything they did in the main event special. And I've said that a lot of times when they're putting people through announce tables and stuff in the first match, where are you going to go from there? But I saw a concerted effort tonight, which I really liked, to keep the match in the ring. Like every time somebody got thrown out and the ref started counting, the opponent would put them back in the ring because they knew they needed to pin them in the ring. There was a lot more psychology in the matches I felt tonight, and there was a lot more psychology in this match with the girls, and I mean overall I thought it was a good match.
Raj? Yeah, I thought so too. I actually thought it was better than it should have been in a lot of ways. I mean, I know Sasha and Becky Lynch can go, but Tamina and Naomi haven't looked that good in the ring, so especially Tamina. But yeah, I thought this was a good match and a good opener.
Yeah, this match exceeded expectations for me. I've made no secret that I think that Tamina, since that ACL injury, has been, quite frankly, bad in the ring. That wasn't the case tonight. She worked her ass off. Naomi worked her ass off, and they had a good match. I was thoroughly entertained by this match, and as Vince said, the psychology was there. There weren't weird spots that didn't make sense. This was a good match, and yeah, props to all four girls for this. Next match was Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. They had a really good match. My only issue with this match is that Super Fisherman's Buster off the second rope from Kevin Owens. That's got to be a finish. That's just got to be a super finish or something, because it always gets a crowd reaction. It looks like it kills the guy, but I mean, that's one minor problem in an otherwise outstanding match. Raj, this wasn't the first time we've seen these two lock it up. Do you think that took away anything, or do you think that those two wins by Ziggler were needed to give us a reason to have this third match?
They've wrestled so many times that I thought it was a good match. I was entertained, but I knew who was going to win, and because of that, because you've seen it so many times, and this feud has just done nothing for me. So it was fun to watch, but ultimately it didn't feel that important.
Yeah, I agree. I think, listen, it was a good match, and we all knew it would be a great match. They've had great matches before, so it's not that, but it's you knew Owens was going over. I mean, there's no way, Ziggler's going to win this match. They're going to put the belt on Ziggler. That's just not going to happen. So, yeah, they had another great match, but it's at the end of the day, man, that by far was the most predictable finish on the entire card.
Vince, what would you do with Owens at Mania?
Oh God, I don't know, man. I listen. I don't know what they're gonna do with a lot of people at Mania, and quite honestly, like without really sitting down and looking at the plays and seeing who's where, I couldn't just tell you off the top of my head because I honestly thought like if Lesnar went over in the main event, well, right there they had two matches with Triple H and Lesnar and Ambrose and Reigns. I mean, they had their two matches. The fact that Reigns went over and now, okay, who's Lesnar working and who's it's like. I'd have to really sit down and look at the roster to figure out what would be the best thing.
Raj, do you have any feelings about who might go with Owens or who you think would be a good idea?
I think AJ Styles would be good. I think that they're both coming off of wins. AJ's got some momentum right now. I think that would be an awesome match too.
People that fans are kind of still into as well when you're trying to stack that card. I may have mentioned this, but I played maybe WWE 2K16 with my cousin a few weeks ago, and he was drawn to Kevin Owens. Actually, he was drawn to the Ascension too, so that doesn't say much about him. But he saw Kevin Owens, and he was like, I like the look of that guy. He kind of looks like an average guy, somebody, which is weird because it's kind of somebody that regular fans could get behind. But I don't know. I would like to see Owens versus Styles, though. Also, we had the six-man. Kind of weird. I noticed they were using AJ Styles' like last TNA theme in the promo video for the Wyatt family, like his 2014 TNA theme song, which I'm assuming is stock music or, obviously not something in-house from TNA. But I thought that was weird. What was even weirder was that Kane, Ryback, and the Big Show beat the Wyatt family. This is puzzling. And I know what Vince is going to say, and I agree with him because we all expected a Wyatt-Lesnar situation. And how the hell could we buy that now? How the hell could anybody buy that now? Raj, what do you think?
This made no sense unless Brie drops the family again, and because Brie is so connected to them that even though Brie didn't lose, his guy is losing, just takes it down a notch. It makes the Wyatts as a whole look weak. And there's nothing on this pay-per-view that made me want to see a Bray Wyatt-Brock Lesnar match. And I'm sure they're going to start, pushing that tomorrow, unless they completely change the direction on that. But it was baffling. I did not get it at all. Why, unless there's some crazy storyline planned. But what was weird? It looked like Luke Harper. Was it just me, or did it look like he got hurt at the end of that match?
I had several people tweeting that to me.
Yeah, so
looked like he got hurt.
Yeah, but I doubt they would change the finish. They would, they could have just brought him out of the ring. So I was baffled. It made no sense.
So Vince, 2 years ago, I think almost to the date, the Wyatts were in a six-man tag. Now it's hard enough to get six-man tag matches over, with no stakes on the line against the Shield, and it was one of the hottest matches of the year. Fast forward to 2016, the Wyatts versus these three guys. They're losing. Give me a theory.
Well, first of all, I would like to think, honestly, that Harper. I would not like to think that Harper got hurt, but for booking reasons, I would like to think Harper got hurt and they called an audible. But it's like Rod said, it's a six-man tag. Yeah. So roll out of the ring, bro, fall on the floor, and get somebody else in there. So I doubt that was the case. But Sean, back up a month. At the Royal Rumble, these guys were eliminating Brock Lesnar from the match. Bro, that case right there, when you look at the Royal Rumble and you look at tonight, that shows you just how bad the booking is. These guys were eliminating Brock Lesnar from the Royal Rumble last month, and today they're doing a job. Two guys in that ring have no future whatsoever with the company. So like I said, unless it was an injury and it was inaudible, I can't imagine how you would build Bray Wyatt between now and WrestleMania to have a believable match with Brock Lesnar. That's ridiculous to me.
It just made no sense. I mean, there was no I mean, it's not like you're gonna have any of those three guys with Ryback, Big Show, or Kane in high-profile matches at Mania. So, what are you doing? You know?
Maybe Dada 5000 can lead the Wyatt family, Raj.
Yeah, man.
The only thing I could think of, and I would not put this past them doing that, was when you look at the entire card, you know, with the exception of the main event, but every other finish was pretty predictable. Every finish was pretty predictable. So this may have been their way of looking at the entire card saying, oh my God, every match on every finish on this card is predictable. What's the one match where we can surprise them? I mean, honestly, they may have looked at it that way, but man, if you want to hurt four guys like that to have a non-predictable finish, I just think that's a bad decision.
And here's the funny thing. I had people complaining, oh, this is predictable, that's predictable. But then they complained when the Wyatts didn't predictably come out in the main event, which is super weird. If something's good but predictable, I'm not going to complain about it.
Because sometimes the best stuff is you know, the stuff that makes the most sense is the stuff that's predictable. When you try to make stuff unpredictable for the sake of not being predictable, sometimes you just hurt your own story.
And if they are gearing this towards kids, how much of this is really predictable? Because there's so much stuff I go back and watch on the network that I'm like, how did I not see that coming? How did I not see that coming from a mile away? But next up we had Brie Bella versus Charlotte. This was not exactly a technical mat classic, but this wasn't, let's be real, this wasn't about really going to be about the in-ring. This was about the story that went with it, and I thought that was okay. Brie Bella wore Daniel Bryan's kick pads from WrestleMania, the furry ones. I thought that was a cool touch. Brie Bella had a hell of a half crab coming from a guy who is a catch wrestler. That half crab was awesome. She had like the arm locked in, hit a really nice top rope drop kick. What I didn't understand though, she was right next to the ropes when she was putting the figure eight, didn't grab the ropes. Charlotte won. Vince, your thoughts on all this? Do you think Brie Bella's done?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I do, and I don't blame her for being done. I mean, I think she should be done, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, I just felt, you know, Sean, the match was very, very sloppy. I mean, it was really, really sloppy. But you know, I mean, it was what it was. I mean, they weren't selling a pay-per-view on this match, but yeah, it was what it was.
Raj?
Yeah, you know, I actually kind of like this match. I mean, it wasn't great or anything in the ring, but I actually thought it was better than I was expecting it. So, and totally good story. You know, it was good by me.
Yeah, this match was about the story, and I thought that it served its purpose. Charlotte looked like a heel. She's so much better as a heel. It fits her so much better.
But can I ask you guys a question that was puzzling me throughout the entire match?
Sure.
My very good friend Rudy Charles was the referee of this match, and if you guys notice, Rudy was wearing gloves, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I would assume, Sean, you know more about this than me because I know you physically get involved in stuff. But bro, the point of the referee wearing the gloves is if there is blood. That's correct. Yeah. Well, bro, if that's the case, then why aren't the wrestlers wearing gloves?
I don't know.
No, I mean, like, is that not the weirdest thing in the world? Like, the ref, I'm sterile, I'm wearing gloves in case there's blood, but the wrestlers, like, I don't, that's weird.
Did Charlotte get busted open in this? I think she maybe got a small cut on her nose. Like, I think that was maybe why. Or did he have one from the beginning?
He had it on from the beginning.
That's super weird. That's weird.
Yeah,
he must have been waiting for Brie Bella to hit that running knee in the ropes because she's gonna give somebody free surgery with that move one day. Yeah. It's gonna hurt somebody. Yeah, like there are a lot of weird rules like regarding blood. WWE won't run TV here in Kentucky anymore because our athletic commission is so weird. I've actually talked to a commissioner about it. The commission makes like any pro wrestling stop a match if they're bleeding and they have to be tended to. And WWE's like, we're not going to do that. We can't afford to do that with time cues and whatnot. So WWE just doesn't run TV here. They're fit to run TV in Indianapolis or Cincinnati. So that's a bummer for me, but oh well.
When was the last time they ran Kentucky?
Oh gosh, well they run live events here all the time, but they don't run TV here. I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a while because I know it was a problem I can't remember what match it was, but I know that that Rep Arena and the Yum Center and the people in charge of that are pretty upset with the Athletic Commission over that, because Kentucky's one of the few states that is as heavily regulated anyway. You have to get a license to even train as a pro wrestler here. So that kind of defeats the purpose of being licensed to begin with, if you can be a licensed pro wrestler your first day of training. But yeah, just weird rules regarding blood. But either way, next up we had the rubber match, Chris Jericho, AJ Styles. I talk a lot about how so many of these matches were rematches. I was excited for this one. I knew AJ Styles was going to go over, but I thought it was a good match. Jericho, he had a couple spots he messed up, which I think it's more his age than anything. But my problem with this is they had Jericho kick out of the Styles Clash. Now, they didn't build it up in WWE, but that is a move that, that's been Styles' bread and butter for a long time. A couple guys broke their necks because they took it wrong, but it was a protected move for the last 2 years. And I didn't know how to feel about that. He tapped out to the calf killer, but there are going to be guys like John Cena that AJ Styles faces. He ain't tapping out, and they're not going to have him tap out. What does he go to then? Raj, I'll go to Vince. Vince worked with AJ for about 10 years. What did you think of all this and the kick out of the Styles Clash?
Well, first of all, let me just say, Sean, I want to take credit for AJ Styles. Everybody loves AJ Styles. I want to take credit for his career because I managed him early on at TNA. So I'm going to take credit for AJ. You know what was super weird, Sean? The fact that he hit the Styles Clash, Jericho tapped out, Jericho kicked out, and then tapped out right after that.
Yes.
So, like, I was watching, I was like, what was the point of that? Like, bro, if it would have been 5 minutes later in the match, that would have been one thing. But he kicked out of the Styles Clash and then immediately, tapped out with that submission move, which I did not understand that at all. But, I mean, I love the match. I thought it was a really good match. I thoroughly enjoyed the match, but just the booking of that finish, I did not understand.
Raj?
I didn't mind the Styles Clash thing because it's something he's not going to be using that often anyway. It's not his finisher anymore, so I don't know. It looks like he'll only be using it once in a while on pay-per-view, so I didn't have that big of a problem with it. But I thought the match was great. I think this was match quality-wise, probably outside the main event, I thought it was the best match on the show. So I thought it was good. I thought Jericho did a great job. At the end of the match where they shook, I feel like I've seen Jericho do that so many times now. But it was good, and it went by pretty fast, so I liked it.
Yeah, I liked the match. They had a really sick spot where AJ went for a springboard move, and Jericho drop kicked the top rope to knock him down. AJ is a master at doing that and falling flat and without hurting himself. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't mind him using that flying or any forearm as a finish. He has been laying that into people since he came to WWE, and it looks awesome. I look forward to him hitting a running forearm or flying forearm in his matches now. Something I was also looking forward to, and I was incredibly disappointed with, they had the Cutting Edge Peep Show with New Day. They went back and forth, and, most of it was corny, but I liked the Christian line about Kofi dropping his accent. But this led to possibly the worst thing that could have happened in this segment, the League of Nations. League of Nations came out, and there were rumors that Enzo and Cass might be the ones to come out and confront New Day. We could be so lucky. It was the League of Nations. Sheamus, who was world champion 2 months ago, who was not booked on this show. Was this a babyface turn for New Day, Raj? And I didn't know what happened.
It was completely baffling. It was such a waste of time. If they wanted to just plug the show, the Edge and Christian show, there was just so many better ways that they can do this. It seemed like it was the start of a New Day turn. But then they're dogging on LeBron James too, so it's kind of an odd way to do it. But man, New Day needs something because they are just they jumped the shark a while ago, and they're getting harder and harder to watch, I think. And League of Nations, the whole thing just made no sense, and at the end, the fans were just so done. I mean, Christian looked like a complete dork, chanting "Watch our show," and no one's, gives a rat's ass about what he's saying. So it was a segment that just made everyone involved look bad, I thought.
Such a shame. They could have flew in Mick Foley or something and just had them interact backstage for like 4 minutes, and the show's promoted, and that's that, and it would have been great. So Vince, how excited are you to see the League of Nations? How excited were you? Did you jump out of your seat?
Well, Sean, I got to ask you this because you said something very important that I did not know about. Sean, I try not to, I'm being honest with you, bro. I try not to read the dirt sheets and all the sites and everything before I watch a pay-per-view.
Except Wrestling Inc. Except Wrestling Inc.
Yeah, except Wrestling Inc. But even to some degree Wrestling Inc. because I want to be surprised. I'll just be honest with you, So are you saying that you guys already knew beforehand that League of Nations was coming out in that spot?
Oh, no. There were rumors. People had speculated that it may be Enzo and Cass. They've done some live events with WWE, the main roster, lately. They're not really factored into the NXT Dallas plans, at least based on what the tapings and the spoilers are telling us. So there was people hoping, speculating.
The only thing I could think, and I'm going to say it again, it was obvious to me they were way short on this show. Something happened where they were way short. So what I'm thinking, again, this was so off kilter. New Day starts at his heels, putting down Edge and Christian. Then their baby faces win League of Nations. It was so off kilter. The only thing I could possibly think was this supposed to be Edge and Christian and New Day? Was an audible killed to add the League of Nations at the last minute to make this go longer? I mean, I don't know. It's almost like I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because if this was planned out this way, it was just absolutely atrocious.
I'll say this. The League of Nations are so dorky, I think the New Day could get over a babyface program by making fun of them for a few weeks. Raj, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, the League of Nations is not doing anything. New Day's got no challengers. It doesn't look like they're bringing in anybody from NXT, so I'm guessing that's probably going to be your Mania tag team match.
Yeah, and I will continue to hold out hope that they do Gable and Jordan versus Enzo and Cass, because I would love to see those two teams at Dallas take on each other at NXT Dallas. Now, guys, the match that we all tuned in to see, the big one, R-Truth versus Curtis Axel. Golden Truth, yeah, I'm just going to say, okay, so Goldust came out, R-Truth lost. Vince, why wasn't this on Raw or SmackDown or Superstars?
Well, again, Sean, I have to say, bro, listen, unless they were really short on time, and I've been at plenty of shows where that's happened, bro, and we've had to drag something out. Unless that was the case, why would this match be on the show and not the U.S. title? You gotta sit there and say this makes absolutely no sense. That something had to happen. It wasn't planned this way. It was thrown out there at the last minute, because if you're telling me this match was booked and you put the U.S. title on the pre-show, I mean, that just makes absolutely no sense to anybody.
Raj,
I don't know what to say about why this was even on the show. I mean, from that New Day segment, I mean, this show took a sharp turn for the worse, and this just continued. I mean, I don't know if they're giving people just a long bathroom break or what, but man, this Goldust R-Truth storyline is sucks as it is, and this did nothing for it.
When you sit down and format a show, I mean, I'll tell you the old formula. I mean, I know I haven't done it in 4 years, but how I did it my whole career was you crescendo the show. You keep building and building and building and building to your main event. That's how you write a show. And, like Rod said, after Y2J and AJ, it crashed and burned till we got to the main event. And like I said, unless something happened, I don't know how you could possibly book a show on paper like that.
I agree. Well, next up we had the main event, which I thought was really good, really fun, very violent. We saw Lesnar put through several ringside tables. They buried him underneath the wreckage of the tables. We saw Lesnar or Ambrose and Reigns go at it. We saw, man, Ambrose got a huge pop when he beat the hell out of Roman Reigns with that chair. But eventually Roman Reigns speared Dean Ambrose, got the pin. No Wyatt's out to attack Lesnar. We'll get into that in a moment. Raj, what did you think of the match and the decision to go with Roman Reigns?
I thought the match was great. Roman Reigns at this point was, I mean, it's where they've been going. So it was the only finish that made sense. If, sticking with their current Mania plans with Triple H and Roman Reigns. I mean, that's the feud they've been building. So I thought the match, I thought something was going to happen because they finished so early. It reminded me of Survivor Series, when Roman Reigns beat Ambrose and you still had like 15 minutes, and then they did the whole, Triple H and Sheamus cash in. I always do that, Sheamus cash in. But yeah, so they had so much time. I thought there was going to be something done here, whether it's the Wyatts. Even when Triple H came out, I thought it was going to be something more than a stare down. So I don't know if they just ended it early to go right into the Edge and Christian show to keep the viewers on, which I almost believe that might be the case. But yeah, it fell kind of flat with just how quickly it ended and just kind of how it came out of nowhere.
Vince?
Well, let me say this. A couple of things. I told you guys a long, long time ago when Vince made up his mind that Roman Reigns is the guy, Roman Reigns is going to be the guy. Now, I guarantee you, going all the way back to last year's Royal Rumble in Philly, they made a different left and a different right. They took a detour, but Vince never got off Roman Reigns. That's been his plan all along. He's not going to change it. They still know how to book a main event. I mean, whoever, I don't know if Patterson's still involved in the main events or what, they can still book a main event.
I think it's Shane Helms that does that.
Yeah, I doubt it very highly. But they could still book a main event. I mean, I think they did a very smart move at the end by making Ambrose use the chair. He was a little bit of a heel on Ambrose before on Reigns before they got Reigns over. I thought that was very smart. I don't know why at the end, like with Rod says, they're short on time. Why are you giving us the cheesy pose with Reigns and Triple H has the belt there, and we see the WrestleMania side? Give me a freaking break. If those guys are that close after everything that's happened in their history, they should have went at it, traded blows, boom, 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 huge pull apart. It would have given them more time. But to make us believe they're going to give us the cheesy pose and those guys are going to stand there after everything they've been through, that's where they got it. They got to break out of the freaking Wrestling 101 mold because it's stupid. But the main event was good. I have no problem with them continuing to go with Reigns.
Yeah, it's weird because if you turn the crowd reaction off, this is one of the better stories that WWE has told. I think. I think that Reigns has continued to get screwed out of the title and all that stuff, but the crowd reaction is what you want. You want people to care. You want people to, I don't know.
Yeah, Roman beat the holy hell out of Triple H. That and it's like that's not even talked about anymore. And then that was like, the spark that led this whole thing. And like Ben said, they're just standing there looking at each other. I mean, all the heat in this feud has been just thrown out the window. I think everything, the whole personal rivalry is now just about the belt, whereas it was more than that months ago.
That Raj, to me, like that ending, and bro, just go back and look at the ending. They literally laid out exactly how they were going to do, where Triple H was going to put the belt, how they were going to shoot it. That has Vincent K. McMahon written all over it. It is so, bro, they would have took that same shot at WrestleMania 1. And like you said, Raj, Reigns practically killed Triple H. He laid out Vince McMahon twice. He's gone toe-to-toe with Stephanie for how many weeks, and now they're going to stand there that the match is made and just look at each other. That's a big issue with, what's wrong with wrestling. That's not realistic.
Also, I want to throw in for MMA fans, Donald Cerrone just won his first fight at 170 pounds via first-round triangle, so there's that. Raj, Brock Lesnar, there was no Wyatt family interference. You think that's even still in the plans? Do you think maybe things have changed? I'm baffled.
If plans had changed, that would make sense for how tonight went down. But I don't. Where do you go? Who else do you have for Lesnar? You know?
I think Ambrose would be fun. Him and Ambrose one-on-one, I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, but Ambrose has already lost so many times. You know, he just lost his Intercontinental title. He didn't get pinned. He just took the pin in this match. I mean, he just hasn't looked like a top guy with how he's been booked. So I don't see it. I don't know. You know.
But I mean, does Bray Wyatt either? Does he look like a top guy?
Well, they've somewhat protected him. I mean, no one's beaten Bray Wyatt in a while, but I agree. I don't know. I'm assuming they're sticking with Bray and Lesnar, but there's nothing on the show that would have indicated that. I'm telling you, this year's WrestleMania, unless they completely turn it around these next few weeks, is just looking like the weakest Mania I can remember.
I think that
on paper.
In my opinion, I would go with Ambrose Lesnar. I'd ramp up the crazy Ambrose stuff. Then you could have Owens, Styles, Triple H, Reigns, maybe Undertaker, Cena, and that's a decent, 4. And then you probably have the Battle Royal, the Divas match. Probably New Day and League of Nations. Could you imagine?
I'm sure. Who else do you got for New Day?
Oh man, the Ascension. There you go.
All right.
Talk about the wasteland.
Yeah. I don't know. Vince, man. What do you think? How do you feel like the build for WrestleMania is going so far?
Sean, I have to totally disagree with you. Bro, listen, and they told a great story tonight. Bro, he was thrown. You stand Dean Ambrose next to Brock Lesnar. You might as well stand me next to Brock Lesnar. I'm just being honest. Bro, he was throwing him around that ring like a rag doll. And they laid it out beautifully tonight that it took the two of them to try to kill the beast. Like, that was the story. They couldn't do it on their own. He was dominating the both of them. They had to come together. They told a great story. You put Ambrose or Bray Wyatt in that ring against Brock Lesnar, it is a total joke. Bro, they're going to have to reach into their bag of tricks, and whether it's they get Rock to wrestle, whether it's they get, Shawn Michaels to come back in his hometown, they got to reach into their bag of tricks, and they got to come up with something, because Lesnar, Ambrose, Lesnar, Wyatt, I mean, God, bro, whether they pay Goldberg money to face Lesnar, I mean, whatever it is, what they currently have on that roster, Raj, there's nothing they could do the next month on TV if they stick with what they have on their roster. They need to pull a Goldberg out of their backside to go against Lesnar. Shawn Michaels have one last match. Hey, bro, come on. I'd rather see that than Lesnar and Ambrose.
That was one of the worst matches of all time, though. They tried that.
But the fans kind of, made that match into a crap show. I think under other circumstances it could have been good.
Yeah. But Goldberg would have to put over Lesnar. You think he's going to do that? I mean, that's kind of been an issue with him in the past.
Well, it depends on how bad he needs the money, bro.
Yeah, I don't think he does. I don't think he needs it that bad. But I mean, who's gonna,
Yeah, he'd be in TNA if he needed the money. But I think Batista. But then again, Batista's got the movie, and he's got way too much writing on it. So I don't know. I agree with Vince. There's just no one. There's no one on the current roster that's intriguing against Lesnar.
They were a victim of injuries too, which is unfortunate because they lost maybe Cena, Rollins, and Orton, because those are 3 pretty valuable pieces to have.
Even with those guys, who would make a interesting Mania match with Lesnar.
Well, and that's true, and that right there is a victim of their own booking.
Yeah, they haven't booked anyone to look strong, so now you're in the situation here where you're basically wasting a Lesnar match.
And how many times have we said they had a guy like Rusev going down that path? They had him right there. Now he means nothing to them. So now they're looking at this WrestleMania card and, who do we put with Brock? Well, you had the guy to go with Brock, but you guys dropped the ball. So, like I said, bro, I have to believe it's somebody from the outside.
Lana hasn't been on TV lately. My hope is that one day they bring Lana back and they play it off as that's what he's been missing. That's what he needs, because she's been off TV. She was back on TV for a couple of weeks. Now she's back off. Got to do a reboot with him or something, but I don't know. I think it's too little too late.
Yeah, it looks like he's headed for a match with the New Day, so
yeah,
that's where he's at.
So, Vince, what would you rate this show, this WWE FastLane pay-per-view?
I'm gonna give it because, like I said, I think they hung their hat on 3 matches, and I think all 3 matches delivered. So with that being, but then we had that catastrophe between AJ and J, between what happened between that match and the main. So because of that, I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5.
I think that's pretty generous and actually pretty fair. Raj, what do you think before we let Vince go?
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. I thought overall it was a good show. Outside of the weird sudden ending and the Curtis Axel and New Day stuff, I thought it was pretty solid. So I'd probably go with a 3. Just because I think for a pay-per-view before WrestleMania, it should have been more momentous, I guess, and it really wasn't.
I agree. I'd probably put it at about a 3.25, right in between you all. Just how I feel. Vince, thank you so much for joining us. Tell these people about the brand.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for letting me plug the brand. You can catch me every week. Go to VinceRussoBrand.com. We do podcasting 6 days a week. And thank you very much, guys, for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it.
Vince, we will see you here tomorrow night.
Yep, see you tomorrow night.
All right, see you, Vince.
And now, Raj. Was Fastlane better than Bellator 149?
I still haven't gotten. I'm gonna watch that tonight. I haven't gotten to the good stuff. I saw the Melvin Gillard knockout, and I haven't seen the Kimbo and Dada 5000. I almost don't want to see it because
don't do it. Listen,
I don't think it can be as bad as I have it. I'm picturing it.
Listen, guys, Raj is my boss. And, everybody at times is like, "Oh, the boss." I would never want to subject anybody, much less the person who helps pay my bills, to what I had to watch Friday night. Dada 5, and I mean this. And
but was it so bad that it was entertaining, or was it?
Oh, it was absolutely entertaining. Well, until you find out that Dada 5000 literally died in the ring for a brief moment. I'm going to look in the camera and I'm going to say this, guys. Dada 5000 is the worst professional fighter I have ever seen in my life. The fact that he was able to manage 2 wins somehow, somewhere in his career is a miracle. They had to search out people that were worse than him, and that couldn't have been easy. I mean this when I say this. CM Punk, outweighed by 80 pounds, would beat Dada 5000, and it wouldn't even be close. Dada 5000 is doo-doo 5000. It was the worst thing ever. And the sad thing is, he could have won that fight. His heart stopped in the cage, Raj.
Yeesh. That is, I hope there's a lesson, that Bellator learns from these freak shows is, they can draw ratings, but you got to be careful because when you're putting in, 55-year-old men and these guys with no experience, bad things can happen. This is, it's fighting, and a wrong punch or a heart attack, when you're that age with like Shamrock and Gracie, you're opening yourself up to bad things possibly happening. So I hope they tone down the freak show. I actually didn't mind Ken Shamrock versus Kimbo as much, even though because Shamrock does look to be in good shape, but
when you're putting on 2 of them on one show and you're not building anybody, there is no Ben Henderson, there is no Andrei Koreshkov, there is no Vitaly Minikov, people like that they need to build up from the audience that they're getting from this. They had Melvin Gillard, who's past his prime down there, and I love Melvin Gillard, but
usually they have like a Michael Chandler or Eddie, like a title fight that kind of makes up for the freak show fight. And this one was a weird card. It was just it was
guys,
purely for ratings.
Dada 5000's heart literally stopped, you guys, and that's terrifying. And I feel bad. I feel terrible for the guy. He was taken to a hospital in critical condition overnight. He's now in stable condition. it's terrifying. And what's even scarier is that Kimbo Slice almost lost to the worst fighter in the world as he died. That almost happened. Also, a heartbreaking main event. Ken Shamrock lost to Hoist Gracie. Hoist Gracie, who did not have his hands wrapped, mind you, which to show you the lunacy of the Texas Athletic Commission, who allowed Dada 5000 to fight and allowed Hoist Gracie to fight without hand wraps. If I were Ken Shamrock and I had known that, I would have swung wildly and just hoped to connect, because if Ken Shamrock did connect, he would have broken his hand. Instead, what happened was Ken Shamrock ate a knee directly to the balls, then another one to the face, and the referee did not see it. Hoist Gracie tried to justify this by saying, "We fought when there were no rules." There are rules now, though.
What? Yeah.
He tried to justify it by saying, "We fought when there are no rules." Hoist Gracie, long known as one of the dirtier fighters, the steroids, and he would hold on to submissions and did a lot of things back then that today would be completely frowned upon. I hated to see that for Ken Shamrock because he worked hard for this. 20 years he waited.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to try to book a rematch.
Well, Shamrock's booked to fight Dan Severn in like 30 days.
God,
So
yeah, but that's not Bellator.
Yeah,
that's something else. But
your fight is what they call it,
right? You are fight or something like that.
Yeah, Kurt Angle versus Rey Mysterio,
and a fan is fighting Roy Jones Jr. on that.
I'm sure nothing terrible will happen there.
Right? Yeah.
But Jesus, guys, yeah, absolutely watch the Dada Kimbo fight because I laughed. I laughed a lot. I thought it was hilarious. So I was entertained. I'll give you that. Somebody says Kimbo versus Dada 5000 match of the year. Not quite, you guys. How about Lesnar versus Ambrose in a street fight? That's what I was thinking. That was my thought.
I just think there's no intrigue with Lesnar versus Ambrose. But again, there's really no intrigue with Lesnar versus anyone. Bray Wyatt, I think they're going to go with him just because that's what they've been doing, and that was the angle that they built. But I just don't get why you beat his henchman.
Should Roman Reigns versus Triple H close out WrestleMania 32 if WWE comes out with a great opponent to go against Undertaker? Yeah. I don't know. Like, what if they pulled out The Rock versus Undertaker? What goes on last, Raj?
Well, they had there's precedent for it, right? The world title match hasn't always gone on last. I mean, back at the Lawrence Taylor WrestleMania, him and against Bam Bam went on last. And
Michael's Undertaker,
and just
that's
Rock,
2 titles.
Right, Rock and Cena went on after CM Punk and Jericho. So I think you probably should. I mean, I know they want, they've been building it to be this crowning achievement. Reigns winning at Mania, the big Mania win, the fireworks, and he's celebrating. So my guess would be that he goes on last, but it sounds like they got something big for Taker. Even Taker and Cena, it's still going to be the most intriguing match on the show. So. I'd probably end it with Taker and Cena, but they'll probably go with Reigns to have that visual of him with the belt and the fireworks and the booze.
Somebody says, how about Joe versus Lesnar? I thought that would be a good idea, but that ain't happening.
I don't see that.
Joe's on the Dallas show, you got on the NXT show, so not gonna happen. Let's see. Also, I've been told that Enzo and Cass versus Gable and Jordan is not happening in NXT Dallas. That's a bummer. I thought that match would be fun. Somebody says it would actually make sense for New Day to turn babyface after beating the Usos. They have no other babyface tag teams to beat unless the aforementioned Enzo and Cass pop up. But I think that might not be the right idea to put them in a title program right away, or maybe it is. I don't know.
Well, they have no heel tag teams either, so I guess they're probably going to go with the makeshift version of the League of Nations. But
maybe Golden Truth, Raj.
Oh gosh, yeah. I have a feeling we'll see them stuck with the Ascension. Kind of on that level.
Maybe they get DDP and he could do some fantastic DDP yoga, which you guys can get a great deal on the Max Pack at ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Be sure to check that out, you guys. AJ Styles, Chris Jericho use it. ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. I love it. I use their wake up portion whenever I get up. Helps me get ready for the day. ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Definitely look into that, guys. Several of our readers use that. Another question that we have here. What about Jim Cornette versus Vince Russo at WrestleMania?
I'd love to see that, actually. That would be the most intriguing match on the card. I'd love to have Jim Cornette and Vince on this podcast. I mean, that would be epic. But
I would too. I'm gonna try to make that. That might be the subject of one of my future features. You all remember the Muhammad Hassan thing? I would love to do one about the feud between Cornette and Russo. I just got an email directly from Ken Shamrock, you guys, that says he is filing a complaint with the Texas Commission regarding that fight. He has a good chance of getting that overturned too, which doesn't usually happen. Only problem is he's in Texas. Texas sucks with their athletic commission, to be quite honest. So that's a bummer. Let's see. Next question. What if McMahon went senile and put Undertaker versus Hunter for the belt? Would that guarantee 100,000? I don't think that's going to make a difference. No.
And you got two guys who, neither are going to be defending the title after they win it, so yeah, I don't see it. Hunter and Taker has just been done too many times too.
I wonder what the tickets. I'm going to look at ticket prices for WrestleMania 32 right now, because I'd say they're going to start knocking them down pretty soon. Let's see. Is it possible that WrestleMania 32 could actually be worse than WrestleMania 11, which is 95? No, I don't think so. There are way too many good workers on the show. It'll at least be a good in-ring show, I'm sure.
No. Yeah, I agree. There's no way they're going down to the 9 or 11 levels again.
Could you see WWE making an offer to Lashley when his TNA contract is up to make a future pay-per-view main event with Lesnar? Also, who do you think should be the guy to beat Lesnar? I think the ship has sailed on Lashley, but you never know with NXT. But it's a shame because Lashley doesn't get as much love for his MMA career as he maybe should. He's not great by any means, but he's solid. But I don't think so.
Yeah, and plus he's fighting for Bellator. I can't see WWE allowing him to do both. And
yeah, he doesn't seem willing to give up that give up that Bellator deal either. Why do they have Roman Reigns have the most anticlimactic finishes for all his wins? Nobody wants to see him win, unfortunately. At least the way he's booked now.
Well, there's stuff you can do for that. If no one wants to see him win, turn him heel.
Yeah.
Or book him the way it has been working. When the fans did cheer him, it was when he was this, the badass who didn't care, and then they go right back to turning him into Cena. So no one to blame but themselves on that.
Next question. Don't know if you all have noticed, but Mandy Rose is rocking that white bikini. I have a fiance that can probably hear me, so I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just dirty.
Yeah, filthy, guys. Ugh. I got my mind on ddp.com/ or ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. That's what you should be worried about.
So let me ask you this about Taker. If you could pick between Cena and Sting, who would you rather go with?
Well, it depends on which way you're going. If you're trying to fill up a stadium, probably Sting. But if you want an in-ring match, it's probably going to be Cena. And, either one, I'm not mad at him if it's down to those two. I mean, for sure, make it one of those two if those are the options. But are those even options? Yeah,
I don't know. Cena putting that Instagram photo of Taker, he knows what he's doing.
He puts a lot of weird stuff up there, though. Like, he'll put Trailer Park Boys up there and, like, Campbell soup cans and all kinds of weird stuff on his Instagram.
Yeah, but when it's wrestling related, he posts the AJ Styles thing, like, the day, So I think there's something there. I think that's probably what they're going with. My guess is Sting's career is done. I don't think he's going to wrestle again.
Here's the real question. Do you think John Cena hunts down those pictures and posts them himself, or do you think he has a guy that does that?
I could see Cena doing it himself. He's got I've only talked to him a handful of times, but he's got a quirky sense of humor, so I could definitely see him doing that.
Anything else, Raj? I know we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, let's I think that's about it for tonight. We'll keep trucking.
Guys, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Go buy the Max Pack. Support us. Help us keep the lights on, or else, we'll do the podcast in the dark. I mean, it's whatever. Also, onit.com/wrestling. In case y'all didn't see, my box jump was 52 inches this weekend, so you should probably take onit.com/wrestling. Save 10%. Raj, what's your box jump? I know you're in there jumping on that desk.
Yeah, I haven't done the box jump in a while. So, but I hit my driver almost 275 yards. So that's one of my records. So I'm getting up there. So
I'd be lucky to make contact. I tried to golf one time. I was piss poor. Would be me being generous for myself.
I just started a few years ago. It's for a computer guy like me, for someone that's always on the phone or inside, it's nice to get out, and that's
275 is impressive.
Yeah.
270. That's at onit.com/wrestling. You guys, just saying, he's taking that T+. But catch you guys later. See you tomorrow night after Raw. Be there. We'll be with Vince. Catch you later.